What is up, guys? It is John. I have Makayla here today, FBA Makayla on social media. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
So, do you want to give everyone a little bit of background, how you got started, kind of what you're doing now?
So I started my reselling journey about a year and a half ago now. I was selling consoles and GPUs before that crashed. So then I started on eBay, and then at the end of 2 years ago, almost a year and a half ago, everything just crashed that I was selling. So then I was like, I have to find some other kind of income because I wasn't working at the time, and I took medical deferment, so I was paying for my student loans. And so I just accidentally found out about Amazon because one of my cook groups that I was in, they were like having a little mentoring program thing. And it's just like a few of us that got mentored. And so, yeah, I did that in February. My first sale was, I think, the 18th of February. So it's been almost a year now. And I just crossed over seven figures just a week ago, I think now.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's crazy how I'm starting to learn that too. Just if you could just like focus on one thing and kind of really get that going. It took me like a while to like realize that you can't do books and online arbitrage at the same time, or it's very difficult anyway. So. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for Makayla, you could drop them in the chat or me, and we'll answer them. What's up, Jimmy? Looks like Braden has a
Braden
question.
and Jimmy got a full house.
Yeah. Let's start the Q&A with a question for Makayla. Why did you choose to get into private label instead of focusing your attention on OA and wholesale?
Because I love a challenge. As much as I like to master one thing at a time and then obviously diversify after. I don't know. I guess my long-term goal from the beginning was to do private label. So as soon as I hit that 10K mark and total profit, I said, yeah, this is the time I can take that 10K and then obviously dump it into my private label. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
looking long term.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think I do the same thing too. It's like, oh man, like I just got out of books, then I decided to like launch a Discord and do all that stuff. It's like, why did you do that? Like, it's like, yeah, you're just like a challenge. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's getting done. But yeah, no, that's exciting. And you started selling already, right?
Yeah, it was a really rough start, like a very rough start. But we're trucking through. I think I've sold over $1,000 in the last like week ish.
That's
So I
awesome.
mean, we're picking up. I just have to nail down the PPC. I need to get new images. They're not that great. I thought they were okay, and then I compared it to everybody else in my niche, and I was like, yeah, it's not
Oh, okay.
great. So then I have to pay for that. So
So I guess maybe I don't really know much about private label. Do you want to like kind of walk people through the process?
So it's a really long process. I designed my model back in the summertime, so it's been a really long process. It takes a few weeks sometimes to come up with your product. And I was in a mentoring program, so it was pretty structured. So I did that, and then I got samples from 3 different places, had those sent to me, which takes a little bit. Then obviously you have to decide between those ones. And then I negotiated the price with some of them, and then finally chose the one that I have now. And then I put the down payment for the deposit for my actual product, and then it took it was like a little over a month for them to make it, because I ordered a decent amount because I wanted to at least be stocked for 3 to 4 months. And then it took about a month to also get here from China. So, and this is during the holidays too. So like it was even more backed up than this. And then I got it. Well, actually, I should talk about this problem that I had because it's important to talk about. But I had an issue with my inspection. So that delayed it. I was originally supposed to launch it during Black Friday or maybe like the week after, like the first week of December. Obviously, that didn't happen because I just launched it like 2 weeks ago. So the reason that that got delayed super horribly was because my inspection almost failed. And the way that they do it is a certain way. Like, they do minor defects, major defects, and then, some other stuff. But it almost failed. It didn't fail, but it almost failed. And that made me very uncomfortable because the amount of money I was putting into it. And I was like, I don't think my customers are going to like having a, beat up item. So I was like, hey, we got to do another inspection. And I swear to God, we went back and forth for almost a month because like both of us were just at a stalemate because they wouldn't budge and I wouldn't budge. Like I said that I wasn't paying for it until it got re-inspected, and they said that they're not re-inspecting, they're not having it re-inspected. So like we went back and forth literally. She told me, the woman that I worked with told me that I could get it re-inspected again and it wasn't going to be a problem. I have it in documentation. And then she turns around and says that she never said that. And I was like, send her a message. I'm like, is this you? Is that you? I'm pretty sure that's you. I hired another inspector to come, like a full inspection. All of my units were going to be inspected. Then they called me and was like, hey, we can't move forward with this. They're denying it. They're saying that they're not going to let us come and inspect it. I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, they denied it. And I was like, no, I just talked to her. Like, here's the messages. She said that's fine. And then so I went back and she's like, no, we're not doing it. It's going to cost us too much money. It's going to take 2 days for them to do. We don't have the money for the workers to be, doing that. Cause each box had to be undone and they had to inspect every single piece of it.
Okay.
It does take a while, but I was paying for it, mind you. I was willing to pay for it. And so we went back and forth for a really long time. And finally, I was just like, F it. Like, we'll just roll the dice. It's either that or I lose the money that I put down, and then they have my product and it has all of my branding and everything on it. And I was like, I don't really want them to sell it to somebody else because that's what's going to happen. So then I was like, you know what? You just got to roll the dice. So I roll the dice and hopefully it all works out. But definitely make sure that you get an inspection on your goods.
So who's inspecting it? Like an outside company, just to make sure like it works?
Yeah. Yeah, I hired an outside, a third-party company to come in and inspect it, and they do their own inspection. But obviously, like, are you really going to?
You're like, yeah, it looks good.
So no, I hired a third party, and they inspected a certain percentage of my units, and I don't know. I was just like so done with the process that I was just like, yeah, that's fine, and I didn't like fully comprehend it because I didn't think I was going to have this much issue, and then I didn't get them all inspected. I wish I would have, but
if you want to, you don't have to. How much did you kind of like invest into it?
Probably close to 12,000 now, because I did spend money on a course, on a mentoring program.
Okay. Oh, so that includes the program. Okay, so that's not terrible.
Yeah, and then I spent, I probably spent like at least, I think it's around 7,000 for my product, with the shipping and everything. So it wasn't too bad. But then I also spent money on really good photography. Obviously, made that mistake as well.
Oh, because I guess you have to have it done there, right? The photography.
No, it's a third party as well. I hired them, and I thought they were good, and they weren't really that great. But
well, I guess that's good though too, because you did get like 3 months worth of inventory. So I mean, that's not.
Yes, so I'm stocked out good. Right. I think I probably over purchased, but you live and you learn. See, like this is all it's all about. Like people are afraid to take chances, and I'm just like, you know what? It's either going to crash and burn or it's going to do good.
Yeah, I do remember like seeing like kind of like back. I don't even know when it was, but like going through. I don't know why I was even there, but it was like almost like one of those like discounted like stores or whatever. I was like, what the hell is this? And it was like definitely like a failed like private label. Like it had like the Amazon sticker. I was like, what is? And then I was like, oh, like later on, I was like, oh, okay, like that's where that stuff goes.
Yeah, I was worried. I mean, there was a point in time where I was like, I'm just gonna have a bunch of these sitting at my house, like because I wasn't getting any sales whatsoever for the first like week, and then I got like one, and then finally they started trickling in after that. Once I kind of fixed my PPC, the way that we were running it was just not right. And then I think a lot of it also comes down to my photos. So
Yeah, I guess that would be like
I
hard.
did,
Yeah.
I did split testing. I did A and B testing on a site that you could use that has like Amazon sellers on it. I mean, Amazon buyers, and then you also Amazon sellers. And I put my picture next to my competitor's picture, and 75% chose them because they said my picture was boring. Somebody said that mine was like, I forget what they said. It was gross or something. And I was like, what?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess that like does play a big like role because like basically like I think people are just more obviously I don't know exactly what you're selling, but like they're just gonna look at it and they'll be like, yeah, that looks good, or like, no, that looks bad. Like they're not gonna read it and then look at the pictures. Like they're looking at the pictures and they're like making a decision like right then and there.
Yeah. So then I was like, I probably should get that fixed.
Wow. That's like cool though that you like launched it. Oh, let's see. We got some
In a
questions.
process.
Jimmy, how long are you running PPC for PL before letting the listing grow organically?
For a while, for this at least first batch. I'm ready to like break even or potentially lose some money on this first batch, depending on how aggressive I want to be. And some of my keywords, I'm already on the first page, so I'm
Wow.
doing pretty good with PPC part right now. For right now, before, no, not so much. But once I keep fine tuning, it'll be a lot better. But yeah, I
Have you
spent.
got like any returns or anything, or no?
What'd you say?
Have you had any returns or anything?
No, not yet. I literally just started selling a lot in the last week.
Nice. That has to be like really exciting though. Like I would almost imagine it's like your first Amazon sale. Like,
Yeah, it was. I was waiting for it. It was like it went over a week, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I have a dud. Like this is not good." It still may end up being a dud. Who knows? But I'm at least happy that I tried it.
yeah, I mean, you don't know unless you try. Joe, buy same item at different price. Do you create different SKUs to track profit or track profit another way? Oh, at different price. If you're using inventory labs, you just change the price and like you could just replenish it, change the price, and then inventory labs tracks it differently for you. So if you ever click on a SKU in inventory labs, we'll have like all your pricing. And if you still have stock of the higher price one, it will show you how many you have left. And that works with your repricer as well if they're synced into inventory labs.
Yeah, I have a bookkeeper who handles all of that.
Yeah, this is diversify into different ventures so quickly. Private label, prep center, home reno. Oh yeah, you could talk about your prep center. I totally forgot you had the prep center.
Yeah, I'm a co-owner of a prep center in Oregon. I actually met my business partners through just a Zoom call that I did with them. And we just ended up talking. I talked to my business partner, Ricky, for the longest time after, and we talked about real estate. And he's actually the one who got me into real estate. So shout out to Ricky. And yeah, it just took off from there. You never know who you're going to meet. Never would have imagined in a million years that I would have met my two business partners through Instagram. We would open a prep center, and I was halfway across the country in a different state. Like, yeah, but it all works out. It all works out.
Yeah, I was helping someone the other day, and they were kind of giving me a hard time. They're just like, "Well, like I'm here. It's just me and my family. Like I don't know anyone." And I was like, I didn't know anyone either. Like everyone like I know now today, like met on Instagram or YouTube or Discord or all this different stuff. It's just like you just have to put yourself out there and send a DM or do whatever you're gonna do to kind of get the ball rolling. And then you just never know where it could go.
Yep, just gotta put yourself out there.
What do you think the most important thing to consider when making listings for private labels, pictures, descriptions, or what?
I'm not a professional when it comes to private label. So here's my disclaimer. I literally just started selling private label. So personally, from what I've experienced from my own private label, and then talking to some people that are good in this private label space. I just think that the pictures are very, very important. Don't go cheap on pictures. I didn't even go on cheap on pictures myself. I just I did 3D renderings, and there's nothing wrong with 3D renderings if it's done correctly. But like the way that my product is, it's better if I had a lifestyle photo. So I didn't do that because I was in a time crunch, and I was like, I don't want to ship my stuff to them and then they have to get it and blah, blah, blah. Should have done that. So that was my biggest mistake. But I think the pictures, obviously, like your hero image, your first image, if it's horrible, they're not going to like click it as much, and then you're not going to really get any sales, because if they don't click through it, and then obviously if that doesn't capture their attention, and then they go to somebody else's picture and they like, oh, like that looks much better than that one, then I'm going to choose that one, obviously. So I mean, but your descriptions and stuff also have to be good as well. That plays a part in your click-through rate.
It is like a crazy probably transition, because you're used to just, everything's already there for you. Like people are like, how do you create a listing? I'm like, I have no idea. Like I just sell on ones that already exist.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot, but I enjoy it.
Did you get an actual like final version before it actually went live, or like was actually shipped to Amazon?
So no, I didn't see my product and I didn't see the packaging until literally 2 days ago.
Did you order it from Amazon?
Yeah, so I had my boyfriend order it and send it to his house, and then I went and picked it up, and I like saw it for the first time. I mean, I've seen the pictures of it. I have a sample of it, but I never did get the final
Yeah,
copy.
I guess that'd put you back like probably like 4 weeks or something if you had to get like a final.
Yeah, so you can, and they often recommend it in cases that, like, if you're making major changes to your sample, from your sample to, and I did make some changes to mine. I just add some dimensions onto it, and it honestly wasn't anything major where I was like, I have to see this. I was just send it to Amazon. I at that point I was so done and over with it. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm just done with this lady. Like if I have to fly to China and like strangle her, like I will. So I was like, I'm prepared to go out to China right now.
That's wow. Yeah, that must have been like cool though, like to actually like hold it and be like, wow, like I made this.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's just like a surreal feeling to hold something that's your product. Like it's not like Nike, it's not like whatever. It's not somebody else's product. It's mine. Like it's my design. I'm the one who created it. I'm the one who packaged it. You know what I mean? Like everything is mine. So like it's just a different feeling that, your hard work and like everything that you put into it, like that's tangible. Like that's when you sell somebody else's stuff, it's just like, here's a pair of socks, here's a pair of shoes, whatever, like that's fine, like whatever. But like when it's actually yours, it means a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think I like doing like YouTube or whatever. Like if I wasn't doing that or Instagram, it's like you get to choose, like you're building like something, like you're helping other people. It's just different than just like kind of just like swiping your credit card or whatever.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey.
When you started, how long did you wait till you got a bookkeeper and set up accounting software, QuickBooks? Um, I've had it for a while because I was doing books. I've always had an accountant. For bookkeeping, I just hired one like last month for this month. Probably once I got to like 40K in sales, it was going fine. But then when I hit 70 and then 120 in December, just too much to track for me.
Yeah, I didn't have a bookkeeper or QuickBooks. I just used Inventory Lab all the way up until it was like June or July, maybe June. Yeah, it was June or July. And then that's when I finally was like, yeah, I think this is just too much for me to handle, because I was trying to get into private label. I was want to do real estate and all of that. So I was like, this is just too much. So I invested into that.
Yeah, that's like one of the big things that I realized when I was like, when they asked for all the stuff, they're like, oh, you have to connect your accounts and this and that. I was like, damn, like this is so much work. Like you don't like think about it, but like when I was like going through it, I was like, geez, like What would you recommend for someone looking to get into private label? Any YouTube channels / videos or Discords or websites to help?
Um, I have received a lot of help from the Honest FBA. So Tom and Alex on Instagram, I'm not Instagram, on Twitter, the Honest FBA on YouTube as well. But they were pretty cool. I didn't originally take their course, but I'm going through theirs right now to see if I could get anything valuable for like PPC. It always helps to have other outside resources than the one that you have. So definitely recommend checking them out. And they have all kinds of Twitter threads of very good private label like information. Like they go into everything, like photography, your listings, your descriptions and stuff like that, and explain to you like what's a good product and why it's a good, and like what's a bad product and why it's bad. And then they go through and they actually talk about like products, like how they would change, like what would they change about it in order to like make it a little bit better. So that kind of gives you like a real world example. And I think that like that's obviously really helpful because you can teach somebody like, you know what I mean, but if you give them a good example and you're like, okay, so this is what not to do. Like this is a good example of a good listing, like try to mimic this one. The photography looks great, the description's good, the A+ content's great. And then explain to them like, oh, this is a bad one. So like you don't want your photography to look like this, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's always hard sometimes to like we're doing coaching right now, me and Joe, and we're like walking people through like reverse sourcing, and like everyone's like we're kind of like struggling or whatever, and then we decided, I think it was 2 days ago, we're like, we're just gonna like come up with like 7 really good products, be like, hey, this is how we found them. And then it just kind of like clicked for everyone. Like it was like, oh, okay, like this is what a good Keep It chart looks like. Oh, this is like a good thing to reverse source off of. So yeah, sometimes you just need to see it. Thanks for not doing this call in the evening. Always tough to jump on those, of course. How much was the total landed cost invested for the private label product?
It ended up being probably a little less than 8,000 for everything, for like the shipping, and then the actual. I'm at about 780, or like around 780 for my cost of good.
Wow, that's pretty good. What do you sell it for?
Right now, $25.99. I'm just trying to get my thing ranked. I dropped from like 80K to I'm at 15K right now. So I'm just trying to get it ranked and the BSR down. But like if once I get good rank and everything, then I could easily sell it for like 30.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because you can just play around with the price because you don't have to worry about anyone else kind of messing around.
I'm pretty low compared to most of my competitors, but like I've talked to multiple people, like you got to sacrifice sometimes if you want to be on the first page and you want to make sure people see your product and stuff. Like I'm okay. I'm still making a decent amount off of just that. So off of $25.99. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't get that. Like, you have to sometimes just like invest. Like when I first started OA, like there was stuff I was buying that like I wouldn't buy today, but I just kind of wanted like proof of concept, like see how this works, how fast stuff sells, and stuff like that. So like, don't be afraid to do that kind of stuff. Do you recommend closing or deleting listings when you are out of stock and it won't be replenished? Everyone says to delete it and do that. If I remember, I will, but I usually only delete it if there's like a problem or like there's an IP complaint or I don't know, the brand is being annoying. So that's really only when I delete it. Should probably be better about it, but I mean, I don't know.
yeah, I try to keep up on my out of stock stuff, but then like I ended up having like 600 ASINs one time because I just didn't delete anything.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, it's one of the things that's just like one of those things like you probably should do. Like I've had it happen before and it like sucks, but like there's been like a claim or something that like gets filed and like I don't even have any active inventory, but it's just like, but usually when you delete it, then it'll go away typically. For both out of all your business ventures, which one are you putting most of your energy in, and what are your goals for 2023? Uh, for me, I'm actually putting a lot more energy into. Obviously, I'm doing all online arbitrage, but I'm also going to put a lot more focus on content and building a community. We launched a Discord earlier, actually right towards the end of December, the FBA Inner Circle. So I'm spending a ton of time there, and I kind of want to help other people do the same now that I kind of have a handle on it. So definitely OA and just kind of helping others through content really is my focus.
Yeah, probably a lot more real estate, just because I just really like doing real estate. Sometimes you got to take a break from some stuff because you just grind so hard. Like I got a little bit burnt out during Christmas time on Amazon. So
During Q4.
it's a good breath of fresh air. I hope to get at least 5 doors by the end of this year. So that's going to take up a good amount of my time. But for Amazon's sake, definitely wholesale, trying to push it over 2.5 million this year.
Yeah, I'm shooting for like 2 million would be like amazing. 1.5 is probably realistic, but who knows? Yeah, that's crazy. Do you ever think you'll do just private label and like real estate, or just real estate, or you just like the mix?
Yeah, I'd ultimately love to just do private label.
Yeah, it's definitely appealing. If you could kind of like get it down.
Mm-hmm. It just takes time, and I like the money, I guess, that I make from OA and wholesale. That like I just can't just cut it off.
Yeah, that was my biggest mistake with books. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do OA, and I didn't really think about the lack of cash flow, how that would play in. But everyone was saying, oh, like you get your money back so quickly with OA, and then that turned out not to be true. And then I was like, ooh, yeah, like I probably should have tried to keep this going a little longer. But I mean, I guess it all worked out.
Live and you learn.
Yeah. Most valuable piece of information each of you learned that allowed you to scale to the next level. For me, it was you could test buy smaller units. Everyone always used to say, like, there's a lot of advice that used to be said that's like doesn't be said anymore, but used to be like, oh, like you should test buy like 18 units because they're all going to go to one warehouse. But then I was like listening to Chris Grant. He's like, no, like you can test like 3 to 5. Like it doesn't really matter. So basically, what I did is just like started testing like 3 to 5 of items. There were so many items I passed on because I didn't want to spend like, on a $20-$30 item like to buy 18 of them and not know. So when I started buying smaller amounts and just testing, that allowed me to really scale quickly in November, December. So I pretty much test bought like maybe 100, 120 different things over the year. And then I just picked like what was doing the best and most profitable, and literally probably like 5 or 6x like what I bought. And like that would have been possible if I wasn't kind of like doing these small test buys.
Yeah, agree. It's not really a piece of information, but it's just confidence. And then, like what I've told my students in the past, the 2 things that you need to scale and scale aggressively is confidence and capital. So the 2 C's to success: confidence and capital. And if you don't have the capital, obviously, to scale, then you're not going to be able to scale very fast. That's just a given. And then confidence, obviously, is just going like kind of what he said. Being able to buy more if you have to. I mean, cast your net as wide as possible when you first start. But when you're starting to scale, you want to double down or triple, whatever, quadruple your best sellers. And if you can like really milk out as much as you can from those ASINs, then that's even better. So definitely confidence is the number one thing, honestly. It's just because I would go from like 1 to 10 test buy, and then like when I started really gaining confidence, I was doing like 20, 30, and now I could do 100. I just bought like 40,000 of one ASIN. So it just becomes a confidence kind of thing.
Yeah, I think like for stuff like that, like the more you see, like keep it charts, and like you just start to get this like feeling. You're like, yeah, like this keep it doesn't look great, but like I've seen other ones like this and sold other stuff, and like you know what, like it worked out really well. And for Q4 too, it's like you just have to like really, it was really uncomfortable spending like 100K, you know, in like a 6 week period, and like just having that sit there on a credit card. I was like, dude, like you're way over leveraged. I was a big fan of like only spend what you have like in the bank kind of thing. But like Q4 came and I was like, nah, like it's time to, and like I am not recommending anyone do this. But you know, I did it, and it was really just because like I bought pretty much everything I sold in Q4, I sold all year long. So I knew how it sold. I knew like what the returns might be like. And I just like basically bought, I literally downloaded Inventory Lab report, all the ASINs I sold, divided the number I sold by returns, got a return percentage, didn't buy anything that was over like 10%, and like just really like tripled down, quadrupled down, just kind of bought as much as I could. So Kevin, how often are your leads replenishable? Uh, for me, it just really depends. I'm doing a lot of test buys. I feel a lot of like almost the definition of replenishable. I think everyone thinks it's like you could just buy inventory over and over and over again. And while that is kind of the definition, you could also have like a replenishable like just during Christmas or just in the summer. Um, so I would say a lot of my stuff I could probably sell, I don't know, usually buy it like 2 or 3 times. And then there's just a lot of times where then the listing starts to go down a little bit or the price just kind of tanks. But like in 2 to 3 months, I could usually go back to that listing when everyone gets off of it and the price recovers. And then I replenish again, and usually a lot more heavier because I know a lot of people are going to stay away from it until like it really starts to come good again.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that I buy and sell now, my suppliers, they don't know if they're going to get that in again. Like it's not a consistent thing. Like it's not always in stock. So it's just like I might get this month, and then 3 months down the road I might get it back again, or I may never see it again. So I don't really have a whole lot now that I'm doing wholesale in the categories that I do. It kind of is just whatever they have is what I get. And I don't, you know what I mean? Like and in the category, like obviously there are similar products that I sell, but they're not the exact same ones. So like
It was crazy to me. Like last year in Miami, Amazon Lit, like someone asked them, if you guys don't know who they are, they did like I think $50 or $60 million last year. They do a lot of wholesale. Someone asked them like, what percentage of your business is replenishable? And they're like, I think they said like 80% is not replenishable. I was like, oh geez. He's like, you always got to be buying new stuff, testing new stuff. Like, I was like, wow, that's crazy. I thought all of it would be like replenishable. Just found an item that's selling 8,000 a month, but I'm afraid to go really big on it. Roughly 41% ROI, no limits. I'm just new to OA, only a month in, roughly, mostly FBM. I would just keep test buying. I would probably, I don't know, buy 10 of them. If that goes well, buy 20. If that goes well, buy 30. Or I typically double. So it'd be like 10, 20, 40, 80. And then after 80, like really look hard and kind of see what I think I could sell. You could literally go into Amazon, you click in the SKU, it will show you how much you sold that ASIN in the last 30 days. So if it was like 10, like who knows, maybe you could move 300. It just really depends. But I've definitely, when I started, I would like probably buy like 20 of those and then realize it gets returned a lot, or everyone else bought like a lot more than I did and it tanks, and then I'm kind of like stuck with it. So if you're new, definitely test buy pretty much everything and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I would definitely just do a small test buy and then go from there, depending on how fast they sell. Then that's kind of how I usually do it. So like, I don't know, I kind of have mine in a weird way, but if it sells within the first week, then I'm going to probably triple it. If it sells out in the second week, double it. If it sells out in the third week, then I just keep it the same.
Yeah.
And then the fourth week, I definitely don't buy any extra.
Yeah, that's always good too. And yeah, definitely when you're replenishing, like just be looking at the offer count too, because if that's like going up quickly, it could get ugly like pretty quickly. What are the reasons you could get your account suspended if you're trying to play by the rules? Um, I don't know. There's all sorts of reasons you could get suspended. I like someone asked me the other day, they're like, "Oh, aren't you worried about getting suspended? And like what could happen?" And I always just tell people no, like anything could happen. It's like getting fired from your job. You play an Amazon sales sandbox. Like if it happens, I'll deal with it. Like I'm not worrying about it daily. Like if you do basically what Amazon is saying to do, you don't buy from shady websites or third party sellers or those people who DM you on Instagram saying they have like wholesale ASINs and all that kind of stuff, you're usually fine. Just like keep good receipts. And a lot, in my opinion, of the suspension stories you hear, there's a lot more to that story than like, oh, like Amazon just like froze my account. It's usually because they did something wrong or missed something. Uh, so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a definite, and we talked about this on my podcast episode with him, but it is something that I worry about in the back of my head, especially whenever I am thinking about taking out additional funds, to fund my like loans or whatever, to fund my business, because I'm like, well, if things go sideways, you know what I mean? So it's definitely an issue, and it bothered me a lot more back when I first started, because I don't know everything that I know now. Like I know there are ways to like get reinstated. There's lawyers out there that will help you. You can have them on retainer. You know what I mean? Like there are ways to kind of help reduce your risk. But obviously it's just a chance that you, but like even if you have a 9 to 5, you could get fired.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
also don't over leverage yourself. I mean, I
yeah,
think
and that's also very
like
important.
I think that's another reason I don't worry about it, because it's like if like Q4 like went sideways, I would have had all the money to pay back the credit cards between business and personal. So I was like, okay, like worst case scenario, like I pay off those cards, like get a lawyer and like kind of go through that process, and then I don't know, figure it out from there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just try to play by the rules.
Yeah,
Like I just like walking on eggshells. It's
yeah.
just like process ending.
Yeah, and I think it's just really keeping up with your account health, like IP complaints, get like IP alert, like just be
Yeah.
like smart about it. And I think most people get suspended when they're doing stuff is like, like I know like people said not to do this, but like the profit's really good. That's when you get suspended. Like when you do stuff like that, or like something seems like way too good to be true. Like that's when you get in a lot of trouble with Amazon. If your credit rating and inventory limits don't drop proportionally in Q4, are you even doing it right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it should be interesting now that you could pay for space. I was talking to a bookseller today, and they're sending a lot more FBA books, and they just said they keep bidding for space. I don't know how like profitable that is, but I mean, kind of crazy if you could buy your more space.
Yeah, I got hit hard with my Capital One 1.5 cashback card. It's a card. I didn't realize it reported to your personal credit, and I was getting ready to apply for some credit cards, and then I looked at my Experian, and I was like, "Oh boy, it went down 55 points." So, trying
Mm.
to cash out refi on my house in the next month, and I'm like, "Oh God, it's so bad."
Yeah,
Definitely just watch that. If you have that business card, make sure you know that does report to your personal credit.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I got,
actually, we're in apartments, and they ran like a background check. All right, do you want to see it? I was like, yeah, and like, yeah, all of it was in there. I was like, dang.
so bad.
Sorry for this. I hope you're finding some good stuff. I shipped my first wholesale order to Amazon, but products are still inbound, and it's been more than 10 days. Do not face with this problem again. What should I do? There's really not much you can do. It's kind of on Amazon's workers, their fulfillment house. or like what's going on there. I'm starting to find some, I guess, categories checking faster than others. Apparel seems to take forever, while grocery and household and beauty stuff could basically be sold like as soon as it gets there. Um, yeah,
I
I
think like
would say one of the things too is like don't stop sending stuff, because then you're gonna end up in the same position. You just got to keep sending it, and then like eventually you like get into a cycle, and it kind of works itself out.
yeah, I waited a month, over a month. I think it was like December 19th to like not too long ago, that I was waiting for something to be finally like checked in. So it was awful. It was an LTL.
Oof,
But the only thing that you could really do is do the 2D workflow and do
true.
the 2D barcodes. But that, even that, like, that's still not going to, it's not going to be like you send it out today and they get it tomorrow and it's instantly checked in.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's one of the hardest parts, is just kind of like waiting and kind of going with that.
It sucks when you have a lot of capital sitting on a truck or wherever, just chilling in the background.
Yeah, like I just sent, like my prep center just sent like 600, like 25 units. That's like 35 grand worth of stuff. And I was like, I hope that checks in quick. Like that's a lot. That's a big ass shipment. If you had to restart with $5,000, know what you know, what would be your first three steps? Makayla had a coaching call with you a few weeks back. You'd have bombed. If I had $5,000, I just buy profitable inventory. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, if I knew what I knew, like I wouldn't like need to buy coaching or courses or anything like that. So I just take that $5,000 and kind of just invest it into fast moving inventory and just, I don't know, have
I
it
love
snowball.
fast moving, definitely. And
I
if
do all the prep myself too until it
and
was.
I would invest in probably a mentor faster. I mean, if I was under the impression that I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like if I look back at it now, would I wish that, like, what would I have done? I would have like got a mentor a lot faster, like just done a call or a course a lot faster. I went months without like really any formal structure. I was in that tiny little mentoring thing, but it wasn't like a real
Yeah.
strict, like, you know what I mean? I was kind
That
of
was
learning on my own.
probably the best thing I did. I did a consulting call. It was like, I think it was like $200 or something. And it was only for an hour, but like in that hour,
You learn a
it
lot.
ended up going like an hour and a half. Like I literally got like 30 questions answered that like would have took me 30, 40 hours to like research. And then like who knows if the information I was consuming is even good or like legit. So I mean it's definitely worth to like do a coaching call or a course or just something to kind of get the ball moving. It's
Mhm.
crazy like coaching other people now. Just like how much like I had to learn. Like when someone's asking questions, like, oh, I forgot, like I didn't know that, or like I forgot like how like it would be like to like not have a label printer or not have inventory, like all this like little stuff. And it's just like, wow, if someone's like, hey, buy all this stuff, like do this, and it's so much more worth it than kind of like trying to figure it out myself. When starting out, how did you leverage credit? Did you just credit cards, Amazon loans, take out a line of credit from the bank? For me, I just use credit cards. I'm pretty cautious, so like I wasn't really, spending more than I had. So, but besides like Q4, but yeah, I just kind of leveraged credit
Yeah, I
smartly.
started with like 10K for my eBay business, and then I had the American Express, the blue card. But at the time, it had still a bunch of eBay stuff on it, and I was still trying to sell through all that. So I didn't really use all that. I used mostly just cash that I had on hand, and then I started getting a few personal credit cards, which I don't recommend doing unless you absolutely have to, because it did wreck my credit score. But it did recover, and it's a lot better than what it was because I was, utilizing a bunch of it.
Yeah, no, it's always like, yeah, smart to do it like quick, like smartly, and just kind of know your threshold, I guess.
I did take a couple Amazon loans. I think I've taken four actually, four Amazon loans over time. It was like 11,000, 22, 33, 62, And then my last one was 72.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it got, and now I've already spent that money. Like I spent it like the second day I got it, but I'm hoping for a refi. Please, Amazon, if you're listening right now, please give me a refi.
Yeah, and that's a really good point too. Like, don't take these loans unless you could like buy inventory because
Unless you know
like
exactly what you're going to do with it.
yeah, don't yeah. If only seller is Amazon, would it be okay to jump into that listing? My check keeper, there were other sellers too before. Me personally, I don't really like to sell on listings with Amazon. I don't know. There may be a reason why those sellers are no longer on the listing. I don't know. It's
I'm gonna
personal.
go against the grain here, and I do sell a lot on
Oh,
Amazon
do you?
listings.
Wow. Maybe I have to start looking into this.
It's not something that I would promote to any new sellers. So if you're a new seller out here, like in my coaching program, in my coaching calls that I do not recommend doing it because it takes a lot of expertise and experience reading these keepas and knowing stuff. Like you just have to know stuff. So I never recommend some beginner to start. I'd always look for things that Amazon's not on. But when you start getting a little bit better with Keepa and reading data and finding good products, then you can start, doing more testing. But most people will tell you like don't even be on a listing with Amazon. And the truth is, there's a lot of money to be made.
I might have to start testing this out. 'Cause
And
I
it
have
is,
heard
test
that.
it out. That's all you have to do. And even before, so like I was doing some of that when I was doing OA, but then I made sure to do certain products within the category that I was planning on doing for wholesale, because I could buy it at smaller quantity. So then I wasn't buying like 100 units of it. It was like 5 units or 10 units. It wasn't like I was spending thousands of dollars. So then I could test it at a smaller scale. And if things did go sideways, it wasn't like a massacre or anything. It was just a small paper cut. We got over it and we moved on. But that's when I kind of made the connections. And I was like, wait a second. Like I'm selling on these listings and Amazon's on here.
That is true. Well, I guess that is kind of good because I was definitely selling a lot of stuff in Q4 that Amazon was like in and out of stock on, and like I was like, oh crap, like this is over. But like I was still getting sales at like probably double what Amazon was charging at the time.
And a lot of the time, if you're getting it super cheap, so for like my wholesale, for example, I get it at such a really good rate that even if I undercut Amazon, and I don't like undercutting, but it's Amazon, so I'll undercut Amazon by like $1. So if they're like 199.98, I'll be 198.89 or whatever, 98.
Yeah, I've definitely done that too when they've like hopped on listings where it's
Amazon doesn't count. Amazon, no.
does it make sense if no one gets the buy box to join this listing? I think the buy box is suppressed. I've definitely sold on a lot of suppressed buy box listings. These are listings that Amazon's like, yeah, the price is way too high on this. We don't want to show a buy box. Funny because like during the year, like there were some items I was selling that had a suppressed buy box, but when Q4 rolled around, like magically there was a buy box for that same price I was selling at. But yeah, I mean, just do your homework. You're gonna have to probably compete with the merchant fulfilled price as well, since there is no buy box. So just keep that in mind. Make sure it's profitable at the merchant fulfilled price as well.
Yeah, I sell on suppressed listings. I just like to do a lot of experimentation, and that's whenever I find out that I make the most money.
Yeah, I did so many like during Q4, and like I like them too because it's one of those things. Like I don't sell shoes, and like a lot of the shoe sellers are like, oh, like the variations, like the money's in the variations. But like I think there's a lot of money in suppressed listings because they're tricky to look at. A lot of people don't want to deal with it because it's not as clean. But there could be a ton of money in there. You could also lose a bunch of money too. But I feel like Amazon typically will. I've definitely been on some where I was making like $30 or $40 per ASIN, and Amazon just came in and like leveled it. Like, and I think they do that every once in a while just to be like, hey, like everyone needs to knock this off.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, pretty much. Can U.S. or non-U.S. residents apply for credit cards for their company? I have no idea. I don't see why not. Yeah, I don't know. Which insurance policies do you each use? I have no idea. I use Ashley Hayden Insurance. I just told her they master on Amazon. There's another YouTube video on the channel. I interviewed her, and I just kind of tell her what I need, and she just whips out a policy, and that's what I go with.
Yeah, I've heard she's good. I use the Hartford.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah, the Hartford I use. Yeah, for stuff like that, it's just like I was like that stuff. Like I don't want to mess around with what Amazon wants. It's like here's what Amazon. Usually they like email me like, "Oh, Amazon changed this. Like we need to update your thing." I'm like, "All right, great. Like do it." I did a consultant call with Makayla. And she helped me out a lot. Well worth it. Book with her. Sweet.
appreciate it.
John, would you ever ramp up and pull back from using the prep center and go to a warehouse and employees? No, definitely not. For me, well, I mean, it really have to be the right situation. But for me, I don't want employees. Like, it's just a big pain. I mean, I've had them for the book business. Just kind of like, you have to. You're actually really asking someone to do a really boring job. Like, you're polybagging stuff or just putting labels on stuff. Like, people, things are expensive right now, so people definitely want a higher wage. There's just a lot of headaches. Like a prep center could be a headache, but I don't know. There's smaller headaches than someone not showing up or, just dealing with nonsense.
That's honestly why I don't have a warehouse.
Yeah, like I prepped everything Q4 myself for the most part, and it was terrible. And then like when like I bought like all this stuff, like my prep bill, like the other day was like $800, or I was like, what the hell? And then it was like, oh, it was like 550 poly bags. I was like, oh, I'm so happy I didn't have to like poly bag all that stuff. And then I was like, oh, it's like 600 units. Like that makes sense. But like, yeah, to like find someone and like to get it done, like it's just a mess. Like, and like, there's a lot of little things people don't realize. As someone who's leaving a warehouse, like when I first got here, the garbage was like $100 to pick up. Now it's like $250 because of gas and like all these prices. You have electric, like so. If you're in a warehouse, like you probably have to add another like $500 to $1,000 just for like utilities, and then yeah, add some employees on top of that. Like most warehouses don't come with equipment, so you got to buy all that stuff. And then yeah, it's just not something I want to deal with. And like now I'm like traveling to like I'm going to Miami seller conference to speak. And it's just like, well, I'm gonna go a week early because like I could just work from my computer. When I was doing the book business, like someone had to be here. It's a massive liability because if they get hurt and I'm not there, like that's not good either. So yeah, just not what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, I'm good.
Not something I want to do. If a wholesaler is not displayed on Google Maps and no reviews can be found on Google to Facebook, blah blah blah, do you still do business with them? I
Do
don't
they
do.
take credit card?
Yeah, that would be.
I
I've
already
heard a lot of people say like call them, see what it's like, see who picks up the phone, see what's going on. I think from what I've heard, like a lot of like wholesalers or some are just like super old school and like they don't really do the internet thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just because they don't have XYZ doesn't necessarily mean they are, but doesn't mean they are a good one either. You just kind of have to vet them. I mean, honestly, if they use like credit card, then I'm more comfortable purchasing from them. Because American Express, I just dispute,
Yeah.
dispute. Like they're cool. They're cool. They got us. But if they wire, I don't wire, honestly. I will use like plastic or Melio. And then
Uh,
that way dispute.
yeah, it's always good to like make sure you're like protecting yourself in that kind of realm. Shout out to eBay for helping us with our dreams.
Funny story. So I actually met him before I did Amazon. We knew each other from eBay, and he didn't know I was a girl. Nobody, nobody knew I was a girl because my username was Gynosaur XD, so that's what everyone used to know me by. But nobody knew I was a girl because I didn't want to tell anybody because like it was a very heavily male dominated industry, and I didn't want people to treat me a different way, whether for that if it was good or bad.
Right.
So I was just like I'd say like bro, I was in there like swimwear. I was like a guy, and nobody for the longest time.
Did you see that thing on Twitter? I forgot who did it, but his name is Casey, and he changed
Yes.
his
Mhm.
profile avatar to a girl, and he said like his following count like grew like crazy, but he was like just tweeting like the same stuff that he would normally tweet.
Yeah. It wasn't until I changed my picture, I think it was, and then people were like, "Wait a second, Dinosaur XT is a girl."
Oh.
Oh, such good times.
I hear many people talk about variations being important. If that's true, can you explain how so? They're not necessarily important. It's important to know how much they sell compared to the rest of the listing. If you go into Keepa, you hit the offers tab, I'm pretty sure, and you could sort. Is it? No, it's not the offers tab. I think there's a variations tab. So if you hit the variations tab, then you sort it. You could sort from like the most to the least, and then you could see which one's getting all the reviews, and then that's usually the one that's selling the most. So yeah.
Definitely use the variations tab because I tell this story to all kinds of people. But when I first started selling, I didn't have the pro version of Keepa, which mistake number one. And I I didn't have one for 3 months. I had no idea there's a difference.
Yeah.
So I have some back there somewhere on my table, but I had bought some Bath and Body Works, a bundle. It was on sale, making good margins on it. I was excited. This was like one of my first products. It sat in my inventory for 4 months and I had to remove it. Now I gave them out for gifts. So everyone got some for Christmas. Oh,
That's fun. Yeah.
Gatekeeper, the pro version, please.
Oh yeah, for $17, like come on. Or nights or whatever the hell it is. Amazon doesn't share the buy box at all. Does it make sense to wait and try to sell the stock? Only sells once a month, or should you learn less and sell all inventory at a big loss? Um, I don't. I mean, yeah, if it only sells once a month, yeah, like that's going to be a tough lesson for you because you probably shouldn't have bought a ton of inventory. And if you have Amazon's on it, kind of weird that Amazon's on it. That's if it's only selling once a month.
That's why I don't recommend. This is a good example. Like that's why I don't like recommending it to people who are just starting out, who don't have a whole lot of experience. Because if you don't read it correctly and you don't nail it right, then you're going to end up with a bunch of, and it's a risk. Every time that I do a transaction and I buy something that Amazon's on it, I'm like playing a little bit of Russian roulette. So definitely just be careful if you're going to try to run with that method.
Yeah, and it's in terms of selling it for a loss. Like you also have to realize, like, just move on. Like, it happens. Learn from it. Get whatever you can get back, and kind of like go from there. Kayla, tell Ricky to pick me up as a client. I'm ready.
I texted him. I sent a picture of the screen. I was like, hey, come on, let the homie in. Like we have the wait list and it is so backed up right now.
That is awesome.
It's so bad. People are always texting me, like trying to me to like hook them up with the favors and stuff. And I'm like, it's not me. It's Ricky. Ricky's the gatekeeper. Ricky's like Amazon. You know what I mean? Like Amazon gatekeeps, and this is Ricky. So
well, like that's like actually like good to hear too, because like yeah, I've been in a fair, well, not a fair share, one really big mess with a prep center who just took on way too many people, and yeah, like tens of thousands of dollars of inventory just was in an open field somewhere in Montana. What's the best place to buy shipping supplies? I don't really have to buy that many supplies. I buy tape from Amazon.
I love Amazon.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people that there's actually a lot of like merch fulfilled like shipping people on Amazon. So like it's not like totally crazy price. I used to when I did books, I used to buy like, poly mailers on eBay and bubble mailers. The Boxery, I think that's the eBay place. They usually have pretty good prices. And for boxes, I was using U-Haul just because they deliver. If you
I
order
just
like $100.
shout out to Tape King. If you don't use Tape King
Yeah,
tape,
Tape King is the
Scotch tape, throw that crap out. Not even comparable. Like I get the 3-inch tape, the thick one, like the 2 whatever, and you just do like 1 or 2 swipes through. Oh,
yeah, you don't want to be messing around with crappy tape.
it is the bomb. I love that tape so much.
Yeah, I remember someone like saying that when I first started selling books, like, "Oh, get Tape King." I was like, "Who cares?" And I was like, "Oh, this is so much better than like other crap I was buying at Staples." So I was like, "Okay, this makes sense." Any suggestions on using a friend's physical or retail store to order products and open wholesale accounts? I don't
People
know.
do.
Try it. I mean, I don't know. I don't see why not. I feel like a lot of wholesalers too have had like retail kind of setups or stuff like that to get accounts. But yeah, just like yeah, say that my business partner or something.
We just hired somebody today, so hopefully the wait list will be moving.
Yeah.
Starting on the 1st, we're gonna have double the space. So anybody who wants to get off the wait list, there is signs of hope.
There's this hope.
Oh my God, there's 215 people.
Jeez. So how's the Jag?
Oh, I just got it wrapped, and it is
Looks nice. It looks
the
really
most beautiful thing in the world. And I'm like such a minimalistic person. I'm not very materialistic. Like I don't have to have like designer clothes. Look at me, like in my Instagram photos, I wear the same outfits. Don't care about that stuff. But I saw that car sitting in the showroom floor, and I was like, I have to have that. Like, have to have it. So I spent a little bit of money on the car, and then I bought the house, and then the income I'm making from the house pays for my car payment. So then I'm not out any money.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's just a really yeah. I'm looking hopefully at the end of this year to get a nice car.
Yeah, I needed a new car too. It wasn't I didn't not that I didn't need one. I really did need a new car. So
Yeah. So why not get like a Jaguar? Why not? Loved offloading dead inventory this past Christmas. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, a lot of people got my dead inventory.
Tape King Spencer 2 saver. Yeah, Tape King's
I got a different one. I don't have it with me, but it's even slicker than that one. Like
it sounds like stupid, and I'm usually one to like get on people's case and be like, "Don't worry about dumb stuff." But like when you're taping like a lot of boxes, like having like good tape and a good dispenser could like save you a lot of time and headache.
It's like orange. And it has like a tiny little. You put it. It's super slick, and it just makes me happy. The little things in life.
People who do almost, I'm sure there's reason for it, but they do like I think like the tape that you need like water to do or whatever. It's like the brown like, seal.
Yeah. I know what you're about. Like paper tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Pirate Chip. I've never used Pirate Chip, so I don't.
I love Pirate Chip. Pirate Chip for pickup, free pickup for USPS, $4 now for UPS, which is very convenient. Instead of dragging it to the UPS store, I live 50 minutes away from mine, so that's just not going to happen. But for labels, I don't honestly use them for labels anymore. I did when I was on eBay, but I just use Amazon, or it's usually one of the better ones, like price wise. If not, it's maybe 2 cents more.
Yeah, but yeah, that kind of stuff like is also super helpful. Getting like free pickups, or just it's good if you do merchant fulfilled. You could I think everyone said you could use their estimator or something to kind of figure out. What was the name of the tape? It's Tape King. So if you
Shout out
Yeah.
We need to be sponsored. I want to sponsor.
Sponsor. Tape King sponsor.
Someone gets Tape Kings on the phone.
Yeah, get them in here. Yeah, definitely best like kind of tape. It's crazy.
Yeah, get the 3-inch one too. It's because you can literally just swipe. I just do one swipe through for my FBM stuff, and it's super nice.
Yeah, that's like I definitely agree. Like the tape is definitely, you don't want crap tape and like the thing jamming. It's just really bad. All right. Well, that might be all the questions. If you guys have any more questions, ask them. Then we'll like kind of wrap it up. Yeah, this is awesome.
You turn out.
Yeah, no.
That I'll be back. I'm gonna go get that Tape King gun. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll answer that question. That the ankle question is gonna take me a little bit, so I'll be back.
Yeah, the Tape King. Let's see what else we got here.
Okay, I found it. Okay.
Ooh,
There's Scotch tape in here, so don't judge me. Okay, I ran out. But this is the tape gun that I use.
That's nice.
This thing is slick. It's better than the Tape King. Sorry, Tape King, but your gun is not as good as this one.
That looks really nice.
This thing is slick. And this is 2-inch tape, so obviously this is a 3-inch tape holder. So we just make do, okay? But
use your imagination.
This right here. I should make my own tape gun.
Private label product.
And sell it.
The FBA like tape gun.
I actually should. I really should.
What else we got here?
Okay.
What are some things each you do to minimize your taxable income? I don't know. My accountant takes care of it. I don't really. I mean, it's just I don't know.
Just business expenses like business trips. I went to Oregon. That was a business trip. Real estate. It's a good one. That's what I'm using my real estate for. And then I have a business vehicle.
I typically buy a new computer, a nice MacBook every year.
Yes, I did buy that too. I bought a new PC too.
I just bought a bunch of camera equipment for YouTube, which I'm excited about. So yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, just talk to your accountant about it.
Definitely get a good accountant because they're worth their weight in gold.
So how did you hurt your ankle? I don't even know. I don't know.
So this is very
every Tuesday. I don't even know that answer.
I'm gonna try to put it into a smaller form. So I was born with a condition where my tibia and my femurs point in the wrong direction. So I walked like this. I walked duck-footed all my life. So I had it fixed almost 4 years ago now on my right side. It got messed up. The surgeon who did it royally messed me up. So I had my femur fixed twice, and then I had my tibia fixed twice on my right side. And then so after that was done, I was having issues on my left side because both legs are messed up. And so I had my ankle fixed back on 420, and it got messed up. My tibia basically crushed itself. So it was like if you step in styrofoam, it looked like that. And so he had to build it back up on the side because there's a hole. So he filled it back in. And then I had my pins taken out. I had pins in it too, along with plate and screws. So then now it's still not right. So yeah, I'm missing ASD because I have to either A, have surgery on it, or B, I'm going to prolong the surgery and maybe get some more opinions before then.
Is it like painful or?
Yeah, so I still walk. So whenever I first had it fixed, my foot was like this. I was walking on my foot like this. So that was obviously not right. So then like he corrected it and it was kind of like these. And like whenever I saw it, I was like, yeah, it looks pretty good. But then when I started walking on it, I was like, I still walk on it funny. So then he wants to cut a bone in my foot.
That
So then
sounds
it comes
painful.
out. Yeah. So it's scheduled for the week of the day after we get back from Miami. So right before ASD, but I think I'm going to cancel it or push it forward because I have 2 other opinions scheduled for the week of ASD. So
Nice.
So yeah, it's a long story, but we're getting there.
When did you start taking profits from the business? I had a job, so for the first 2 years, I didn't take any money out. So I just kept rolling it. I mean, the best way to grow, if you want to grow the business quickly, don't take any money out. I get that's not a reality for most people, but the more you can keep in the business, the faster it will grow.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't take any money out of my business other than for monthly expenses and my student loans. The major point in time that I actually took money out was in December when I purchased my house and then my Jaguar.
Nice.
But that money's going back in again from my house when I cash it out.
Sweet. Are you guys gonna go to ASD? I'm not. Makayla's. No.
I'm unfortunately not gonna be able to come. I was planning on it too. It's just
Yeah, like I want to go, but I'm not in wholesale, so I'm just like.
I'm gonna go in August though. God, please let me go because last time I couldn't go because I was on an e-scooter. So, God willing, I'll be there.
Makayla has been through it this past year with those surgeries. Yeah,
That ankle did 4 times last year.
Gotta grind FBA to pay those medical bills.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my legs are worth at least $500,000 at this point.
Damn. Makayla, have you paid your student loans? I remember that was your goal.
No. So the original plan was to take the money that I made during the summer for back to school, and I did meet my goal. Like I could have paid them off. That wasn't an issue. But a wise man told me that I was stupid to do that because I could make more off of that 35 grand.
Yeah.
Because the interest on it was like it's like 1.7 and a half. So I can make. Yeah, so he's like, it's Ricky. Ricky is the wise man. He told me, he said, Makayla, why would you pay off your student loans already? He said, just like milk it out like as long as you can. So yeah,
for like 1.7%, like plus you're just gonna give it. Yeah, I would just be like, nah.
I was like, I'll pay the minimum payments and we'll just take this thing out until it, you know what I mean, I'm done. I mean, I would love to be debt free when it comes to student loans, but
yeah.
I'm okay
That's
with
like the crazy thing too. Like I was always all about like, oh, like no debt and all this other stuff. And like, yeah, I still am like personally. But like for business, it's like the biggest businesses are like all built on debt. And like obviously they know what they're doing and it's like smart debt, but like a lot of these like big companies like Amazon just like secured like this massive loan in case things go sideways with the economy. So it's just interesting.
I do need to refi that. I keep forgetting to do that since I actually have a job now. I was jobless, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't refi that." So now I do.
How's the rental coming along, and how are you liking the experience so far?
Oh, it's good. I just paid the painter today. She finished the house. Today was the final date for that. So I walked through that one this morning and it looks really good. I just have to install the floors. I'm not personally installing them, have them installed. And then the light fixtures, small details, get new appliances. And then the roof still needs to go on. I don't know what's going on. My roofer man, what are you doing? No, I had
on the roof.
The supplies are sitting outside, but like he just hasn't showed up yet. So whenever he comes, I guess is when it's going to get done. And then we got to redo the entire bathroom ourselves because I didn't want to, because it's leaking in the bathroom from the roof. So I don't want to, obviously fix that and paint it up and put the floor in it, spend thousands of dollars on this. And then it just, go through again through the ceiling. We're going to have to fix the drywall and everything. So like my dad's like, no, we're not doing that. So we're going to redo the entire bathroom ourselves. So then I'm going to put a backsplash in, hopefully myself. So
interesting. So how long do you think you're away from like someone like renting it?
I'd say the goal was for it to be done and ready to go by the time I left for Miami, which is the 14th. But that's probably not going to happen. But hopefully before like I get my ankle, whatever is going on with the situation, because I can't do everything. It needs to be done. I need it to be done before I'm on crutches or a scooter again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have a job now or no?
Not a real job, no, not a 9 to 5. It's just a
job.
Oh no, like this is my job.
Yeah, I was like,
no, I didn't do anything. Like I didn't have like a full-time or a part-time job. I was just slinging consoles.
Yeah, that's like always a crazy concept, and I think it's like so cool that there's good chance that like you'll never have a traditional job. Oh, it's like crazy.
Yeah, that just scares me.
Why?
Having a 9 to 5.
Oh, I thought you meant like not having a 9 to 5 ever. I was like, why is that scary?
No. I meant no. Now that I've experienced the life of a non-9 to 5er,
I could never go back. Like
I didn't really even have a 9 to 5. I had like a part-time job at a hospital, but it wasn't a 9 to 5. It wasn't like, it was just, I worked one day a week. It was a 12-hour shift. So
yeah, I had a 9 to 5 for a good bit of time. And yeah, definitely I think once I quit, I was just like, oh, like, I don't know, maybe and then like after like a month or two, I'm like, should have done this like 2 years ago. Like, I don't know why the hell I waited so long. Are you both S corps? I'm not. I'm an LLC, but I will be an S corp. I should have to tell my accountant to do that because yeah, this is gonna be a big year. So gotta get that situated.
Oh, that's another way to save on taxes as well.
Yeah, S corp.
Corp collection. I'm going to be one for probably last year and then on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that's all the questions. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Where can people find you or get a hold of you?
FBA Makayla. It's on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, YouTube. I'm trying to get my YouTube channel popping again.
That's actually, I would argue that's much harder than growing an Amazon business.
It's draining. You know what I mean? I'm an introverted extrovert. So like
Same.
I'm okay to talk in front of people, but like if it gets to be too much, like too many people, like the whole like having to broadcast it in front of thousands of people on the internet. I don't even care if it's over the internet. It's just very draining. So like it does take me a little while to come up with videos and stuff because it's like I'm a perfectionist too. So then if I say something wrong in these videos, then I'm like, oh, delete. We got to do it all over again.
That was the only ever time. So that's the only reason why I probably have this channel because I was the exact opposite. I heard someone say like, just like put it. So I would just like post. I never watched it. So I literally recorded on my phone, upload it, like put a title, and like that was it. Like I did because I knew if I watched it, I'd be like, nah, that sounds dumb. Like don't do that. Like so that's kind of and as the channel's grown, I'm kind of got into that, and I have to get away from that again because I was like, like that's you did this or you did that. I'm just like, no, bro, you just have to post and like let the content like find its way.
Yeah, I wish I would. I probably should stop watching that. I don't know. I'm like, ooh, I gotta watch that. See how dumb I sound.
No, I would never watch or like no, never. Because like yeah, and sometimes like people would be like, oh, like they like come up to me and they'd be like, oh, watch your YouTube. Like when you said this, I said that? Like, I'm like, probably, like, I was driving home in the car, just like spewing like information or whatever. Never watched it again, but
I
like,
mean, it can't be worse than a lot of the misinformation being spread anymore. So
yeah, that is very true. A lot of this misinformation
there's
going
a
around.
lot. If anybody's watching, make sure you trust the people that you're learning off of, or you're taking their advice to heart. Like, make sure they're actually credible, because there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of snakes in the grass. So
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And yeah, you gotta do your homework, ask people, vet them. I like to
mhm,
always say, like, I want to do a YouTube video about it, about like what kind of makes someone like a legit person or whatever. But like that's
that'd be actually good.
hard to
I
do. But like I always like to think like not everyone has to have like an Instagram or something, but I feel like they should have like almost like some kind of digital footprint of like documentation. Like people could like throw like arrows at me or whatever. It's like scroll my Instagram, like you'll see everything, like get in the warehouse, like leaving the warehouse, like doing my first $100, doing 100,000, like it's all there. Like
I honestly wish there was like a software that people had to plug their like P&Ls into,
that would be crazy.
like to be like verified or something, like in the community. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because if you're not, then we know you're capping. Because if you upload your P&L, then you have nothing to hide. Obviously, if you're doing what you say you're doing.
That would be crazy. Like if there was almost like an Amazon like ranking. Obviously they have it kind of through Keepa, but like a whole like where you could like look someone up or be
Mhm.
like, yeah, like how much
And
do
it would tell you. I mean, and if you don't feel like if you don't feel comfortable enough sharing that information, then obviously you've got some skeletons in the closet.
yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, yeah, I'm very trying to be like very transparent. And yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, there's some YouTube videos saying that like I only made like 5% on my money when I first started. I was like, hey guys, like this is an embarrassing video, but like, hey, this is how it goes sometimes. Like I just don't know what the hell I'm doing yet. But like we're gonna figure this out. Yeah, we kind of figured it out.
Oh, I
But
thought you meant people were saying that you made 5%. I was like, wait a second.
no,
And then
this 1 month I did. And like
I was like, wait a second. What?
yeah, it was just basically like it
No, I
was like
understand.
when I first started apparel and had no
Mhm.
idea like, about returns. I got like hammered. Like I think I did like 20 or 30K in sales and made like $1,000. It was insane.
I've had a 9% month. I'm an 8 or 9% month when I first started. It's not. It's never like. It's never perfect. You don't just always start out. I didn't start out making 15% every month.
Yeah.
It was never that. It was like 8%, 10%, 12%, maybe 11%. Then it went up and down and up and down. And then finally, whenever I got my momentum, then it started going up and stayed up. But like it's never you just okay, if you can't, do 15% net, then you're gonna fail. Like, there's always room to grow.
Yeah, and I feel like with this net and all this other stuff, there's a lot of people saying like, oh, like sales, everyone's sales are down, like no one's posting stuff or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, like it's hard to repeat like Q4 volume. I know your sales are up, but like a
My
lot
sales
of people
are up. I'm hoping to hit 200K this month.
that'd
So,
be wow, damn, that's awesome. Yeah, my
but
sales
I
are down, but I
know.
stopped buying in December, so like there's no surprise to me.
Mhm.
I got that 100K AMX, and I was like, whoa, like it just like hit me very different, and I was like, I gotta stop spending. I wish I kept spending though. Um,
Yeah, I'm on a hold. Amex just cut me. They said no more. So I haven't spent any money in the last like week and a half.
that's what
So yeah.
happened in December. Like a charge got declined. I'm like, what the hell? And like I was paying attention but not paying attention. And then I was like, oh damn, like I'm up to 100K so far. Like, oof, like we gotta pull back a little here. But it all worked out. So
Honestly, if you don't get those notifications for American Express, have you really reached that level of an Amazon seller? Like, you try to go get gas and it gets declined. You're like, oh man. It's like
damn, like no, I
that's
got money though. Like, look at my app. Like, look at my app. It's coming. It's on the way.
I know, and that's what Amazon has a whole bunch of my money right now. So I'm like, American Express, you just gotta calm down for 1 second. Like,
Yeah.
Amazon is trying to give me massive anxiety here.
Yeah, I took like a couple early payouts and like just like kind of gave them like 20 grand at a time. I just kept
I put like over $40,000 back onto that card again, and they're still not happy. So I'm just like, okay, you're just gonna have to wait a minute. Like, I
yeah,
think I
it's really
like
cracking down. I
70,000
don't know if they're like scared about like the economy or like what the problem is, but like who
Yeah, that's
knows?
I don't know. They seem to be extra stringent. I'm like, okay, just you're gonna have to give me a minute, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait. But
Hold on.
well, thanks for being here. This was awesome. A lot of good questions, and yeah, we'll definitely have to do this again.
I think it was good. We did. It's very informative, and we got a good turnout.
I agree. Yeah, we covered pretty much everything. All right, guys, have a good weekend, and we'll see you in the next video.
Peace.
Peace.